the Fave 5 podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans here, joined by the good sir, Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed the Fave 5 podcast, presented by Suavecito Tequila. I had a few glasses of the Suavecito Añejo last night as I was sipping and enjoying the rarity that occurred. A couple of tickets actually cashed for me. Thank you, George Kittle. Way to go. Thank you, Christian McCaffrey, for catching a lot of Brock Purdy passes. Lundy, what is remarkable to me right now at BetMGM, Brock Purdy is number 5. He has the 5th highest odds of winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. The guy's played like 3 games. It's astonishing and mind-blowing, but that is quarterbacking for a playoff-bound team. And one last night, they look like a true blue Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I was actually at the Colorado Avalanche game last night, and I kept pulling up the box score. And I'm going, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite a showing, but come on. Offensive Rookie of the Year, settle down. I mean, Niners fans are a little nuts. I'm not going to lie. So that could be part of it.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson leading the way right now in that pecking order at plus 140 to take home the honor. And I tell you what, if he has another big game for the Jets this weekend against a surging Detroit Lions club, might as well just hand him the hardware right now. All right, we got to hand the sportsbook some more cash here in NFL Week 15. Let's go with our pick to click, and I'll bat lead off here, Luddy. I'll let you ponder this one because I've got a Saturday special because we got 3 games on Saturday and expected to be a snow globe in Buffalo. If you've been following me on Twitter at Yahoo Noise, I've been posting Noah's forecast discussions, and truthfully, one of the meteorologists in the Buffalo office reached out to me and goes, "Oh my God, you read our forecast discussions?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I got a master's in science, degree from Mississippi State University in geoscience with an emphasis in meteorology. So I'm a weather nerd just like you." But yeah, lake effect snow warnings in Western New York could be upwards of a half a foot of snow that accumulates during game time. With wind sustained, not much of a worry, 9 to 15 miles an hour, but you may get the occasional gust around 25 to 30, and we could have thunder snow, which is quite the phenomenon, to say the least, during the winter months. But I can't wait for that game on Saturday night. So this is one leg, part of a 3-legger, all money lines on Saturday. Give me Minnesota against Indy. Give me the Baltimore Ravens to get the W on the road against the Cleveland Browns, who they beat earlier this year. And then give me the Bills to take care of business against the warm-weathered Miami Dolphins. So uno, dos, tres, all 3 of those legs hit. You're looking at plus 349 at BetMGM. So that's a tasty taco, to say the least, don't you think, Lundy?
Yeah, I think that's pretty damn sexy there, Brad. Nice work. By the way, you you talked about like your college days right there, your meteorology.
Yeah.
You also threw out your Twitter handle as Yahoo Noise.
Did I really? Noisy
Yes,
Huevos.
There you go.
That's the old Twitter handle. I don't work for Yahoo anymore. Noisy Huevos. And what's funny is the meteorologist in Western New York still thought I worked at Yahoo. So somehow that seeped in my cerebral cortex in that moment.
Yeah, it happens. I used to do the morning show on the Fan here in Denver, and long after I left the show, I would have people hit me up on social media and tell me that what I said on the show this morning was stupid. And I was like, I'm not even on the show. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm going with kind of a little bit of a TYG special for just a quick pick to start things off, and that is actually Sunday afternoon right here in Denver. I'm taking the Broncos to cover against Arizona. I actually think they win the game. I know they're favored. They're favored right now by 3. For whatever reason, I think some of what they pulled off last week against the Chiefs is going to carry over. So I'm going to take them straight up against Arizona. I'll lay the points. It's fine with me. I think Denver finally satisfies the fan base as we all drunkenly leave Mile High Stadium on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and hopefully this rubber stamps or guarantees that Russell Wilson's going to be in action, because if it's Brett Rippon, you're going to be tripping.
You can beat. Why is Cliff Kingsbury still employed?
Hey, That's the $10,000 question right now that nobody really has the answer to. But I think the axe is sharpened and the blade is about to come down on the neck here in this NFL offseason. All right, with our pick to click on the board, let's get after it on this Friday edition with another Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, let's go back to that weather-impacted game in Orchard Park, New York, and just give you a little bit more background because, again, I love geeking out about the meteorological events. The banding of snow, as you know, with lake effect, can shift in nature. So if you're within that band, you can get snow rates between 1 to 2 inches per hour. But if you're on the fringes or just outside that band, nothing, absolutely nothing. So it's anyone's best guess if they're really going to be directly impacted the entirety of the game. Again, according to the local NOAA weather office there in Western New York, that band is expected to drift southward during the evening. And where is Orchard Park? Well, it's located southeast from downtown Buffalo. So just something to keep in mind there. But we'll wait and see how this plays out. It's rather unpredictable at times, just where that band lines up. What will not be unpredictable is the fact that James Cook hits the over on 11.5 receiving yards, just minus 110 at BetMGM. Here's why I'm digging this prop for the rookie and younger brother of Dalvin. He's ran 23 routes in total here in the last couple of games. He's been over this 11.5 receiving yards mark in 2 of his last 3. He had 9 receptions in total here the last 3 games combined. And you look at Miami. They've allowed 14 RBs, 14 to reach 12 receiving yards in a game. They're giving up 5.7 receptions, 43.9 receiving yards per game to the RB position. And if the weather is a factor in this game, maybe you get some blustery winds on occasion because there could be gusts, as I mentioned before, in the upper 20-mile-an-hour range. That is perfect for the dump-off game, the checkdowns from Josh Allen to James Cook, who's seen a spike as a receiver in his role. So fade or follow, you got to cook with me on the over 11.5 receiving yards, minus 110 at BetMGM. Lundy, put that in the oven, punch it in for 350 degrees, 20 minutes, and just come with me on it.
No, I'll roll with you. I'm a little concerned about the weather because of what you just pointed out. The fact that it could be a huge factor. It could be nothing. You never know.
It's the nature of it.
It's kind of like our picks. It could be something. It could be nothing. We really don't know. But I do like this one. You talked about the routes that he's been running. You're talking about, 37 yards in the first meeting between these two that he had receiving. So you just put it all together. I like this one. This is a nice, simple threshold to be able to get up over. Follow, take it. He gets to at least the dozen mark.
James Cook, bake us a winner.
Number 4.
All right, let's live it a land down under. Get your bloomin' onion ready there at the Outback Steakhouse. But I'm going to take the under on Deonta Foreman. 70.5 rush yards, minus 115 at BetMGM. Now, here is the evidence to the contrary and why maybe fading me could lead to a profitable end for you. Pittsburgh, who the Panthers are taking on over the last 5 weeks, has given a 4.67 yards per carry and 98 rush yards per game. A half a dozen guys have hit the over on 70.5 rush yards against him this season at the RB position. But this is why I'm fading Foreman. I watched a lot of that game last week with the Carolina Panthers, and Chuba Hubbard looked great. And Chuba Hubbard was heavily involved. As a result, Foreman in his last 3 games under a 50% snap share. Now, he did have the 21 carries last week, and it took that mountainous amount for him to get over even 70 yards. And it may take a similar number for him to crack the over here. So I think it's like 16 carries, low 60s in yardage. If Hubbard has a hot hand, maybe he gets more work. I know it's a friendly matchup, but I got to fade Foreman. Again, I'm taking the under 70.5 rush yards, minus 115 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
Well, you're asking me to put myself in the head coaching shoes to figure out what the snap share is going to look like between these two, which is probably why I would stay away from this one completely, because I don't think you can predict it. You could have a red-hot Hubbard who winds up taking those snaps, and Foreman's only out there for 40, 45% of the snaps, or Hubbard could put it on the turf. He gets in the doghouse.
Yep.
And Foreman's the guy for the rest of the game. So I don't like this one, Brad. I'm going to stay away. All your logic says to go to the under because of how Hubbard has looked. But given the fact that you can get after it with the Steelers, 4.38 yards per carry on an average so far this season, this one has me a little bit nervous because they could take advantage of Pittsburgh, but you're asking me to predict an RBBC that I don't think I can do.
Fade Foreman? Why the hell not?
Number 3.
All right, let's get an SGP/OGP on the board and come with me, would you, on this one? And let's go to a game that I think is going to be fireworks for fantasy, for betting purposes. If you're taking some of the overs on the player props market, that is Tennessee and the LA Chargers. And by the way, on a side note, a little early bonus time, I kind of like the over in this game. Which is sitting right now at 46.5. Now, here's the drawback on this prop, and it's Justin Herbert, 275 plus pass yards, and Justin Herbert, 2+ passing touchdowns. It is at plus odds at BetMGM here at Tape Time, plus 115. The drawback is this: Derrick Henry exists. Derrick Henry is the football Frankenstein, two-hole smashel. Oh, and the Chargers do not have enough horse tranquilizers in the arsenal to impede him in any way, shape, or form. Could be a lot of clock driving, sustaining drives logged by Tennessee, which could limit the opportunities for Herbert. So that is a concern. I just want to throw out that qualifier here, but I still think Herbert is going to take advantage of a secondary that's been overly forgiving this season. They have given up, the Titans, 7.48 pass yards per attempt and 300.5 pass yards per game to opposing signal callers. Herbert is number 8 in total air yards, and he is top 10 in adjusted completion percentage. He's reached the 300-yard mark 4 times this season. He's done it back-to-back weeks, 335 and 367 in the prior 2 matchups, and he finally has a healthy bevy of weapons. Keenan Allen's resembling his old self. Mike Williams looked great coming off that high ankle sprain last week, had the touchdown. Joshua Palmer has been fantastic for much of the season, and Austin Eckler is that safety valve underneath who catches everything, and Gerald Everett also involved. So I like the Chargers quite a bit here. I actually think they're going to cover the -2.5 on this game. So triple bonus time on that. But for the sakes of number 3 here on the Fade 5, OGP of Justin Herbert, 275 plus pass yards and 2+ passing touchdowns. Getting seduced by the juice, plus 115 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
Well, my buddy Mark hit me up on the old text machine, the chatter.
Yeah, the old thread.
Yeah. He hit me up earlier this week, Brad, and he said, Nate, I can't decide between these 2 guys in my lineup. And I said, all right, well, if it's me, I'm rolling with Mike Williams. I just had a good feeling, right? So here you are with your passing touchdowns. And so for Mark's sake, I'm hoping that you're right, that those passing touchdowns exist for Mike Williams. Brad, because the guy that I told him to sit was Kittle.
Oh, good Lord. Only had a couple of touchdowns and flew over the century mark last night. So I'm
just saying, I really need this SGP to come through, because otherwise I think Mark's coming after me, or he's going to hire somebody named Vinny with a lead pipe to come show up at my house.
If you see strangers at your door holding an object, particularly behind their back, Lenny, don't answer it.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say I do like this one. Remember, you gave out the stats in terms of what Tennessee allows from a passing standpoint. There's only one team that's worse, and it's the Vikings. So, just in terms of giving up the yardage, I think this is a safe play with the 275. Even if they do some stuff on the ground, I'm not concerned about it. I think he gets up above this number. Herbert's been fun to watch. Just please give me at least one of those passing touchdowns to Mike Williams so that I don't feel like a complete dolt.
Yeah, for the sake of Nathaniel Lundy, do it for him, Justin Herbert.
Number 2.
All right, numero dos. Let's go to a rookie wide receiver here in Drake London. London calling. Absolutely has to be a theme song for him at all times. And I think the bell's going to be ringing atop the London Tower. I'm going to take the over on 39.5 receiving yards in his matchup on the road against the division rival New Orleans Saints, minus 115 at BetMGM. Now, truth be told, I grabbed this when it opened. If you follow not Yahoo Noise, but Noisy Huevos on Twitter on my spreadsheet, you'll see a 36.5, but this line has jumped, and it's understandable because Desmond Ridder is going to be under center for the Atlanta Falcons. I think Ridder is a more accomplished, though, and inexperienced passer compared to Marcus Mariota. And not only, too, he's a guy that has that duality. I mean, he ran for over 50 yards in 3 preseason matchups, and, he didn't play the full game in those tilts, but also in those battles in the preseason, Ridder completed 60.7% of his attempts with a 7.69 YPA. A lot of insiders, a lot of people know the NFL extraordinarily well, probably better than Lundy and I combined. I've all said that Ridder was a better fit for the Atlanta offense than Marcus Mariota. So this is his chance to shine, and I think there's going to be an instant spark, an instant chemistry that he's going to build with a fellow rookie there in London, who went for 5 catches, 74 yards against the Saints in week 1. Has hit this number 5 times or more on the year. And a guy that's averaging 6.2 targets per game. And most importantly here, Lundy, he's number 13 in unrealized air yards. What does that mean? Opportunities lost because of Marcus Mariota. I think they're going to be opportunities gained because of Desmond Ridder. So fade or follow Drake London over 39.5 receiving yards against the Saints, minus 115 at BetMGM.
So if Ridder comes out and has a good game, does he show up on the Offensive Rookie of the Year charts at BetMGM too?
Number one. Sure, yeah. Number one.
It's all of a sudden he's like minus 550. This is why I hate doing futures stuff, folks. Give me the bets that pay off right now. I don't need any of this shit. I'm with you on London. Give me the over. Look, I just think they're going to air it out. I think they want to see what they've got in the kid. And if Ridder's going to be throwing it, here's one of your targets. I think this is a really simple bet to make. I like this one.
Yes, follow the Drake London call and crank it, baby.
Number 1.
All right, numero uno is a player that has been in the news, and this is one of the more shocking player props on Saturday that I witnessed, and I'm still taking the over on J.K. Dobbins, 48.5 rush yards. Very light juice right now at Caesars Sportsbook, minus 103, and this line opened at 53.5, and I thought that was soft. It plummeted down to 47.5. Why? Because of the words that came out of JK's mouth yesterday in an interview. He said, I'm not quite 100%. And he had a noticeable limp after the long touchdown run he had last week. And people were like, oh, God, we got to fade. JK's not even in full strength right now. But Dobbins added some context and said, I may be at like 75% right now. So I'm getting 100-yard games. When I get to 100%, those will be 200-yard games. So I love the confidence. I love the inflated ego of JK. And in a run-heavy system of the Baltimore Ravens, A, that's an influential factor. And B, it's all about maximizing the matchup. Cleveland has given up 5.19 yards per carry, 105.7 rush yards per game this season to the running back position. 13 guys have cracked 50 yards against them. The Ravens are number 6 in the NFL and run blocking efficiency, according to Pro Football Focus. And Dobbins last week, outside the 15 for 120, you look under the hood, 3.13 yards after contact per attempt. That's vintage Dobbins. And he played over 70% of the team snaps. So, with Huntley likely going to be the quarterback at the controls, could be some breezy conditions there along Lake Erie, which is normal this time of year. I think Dobbins is probably getting another minimum, 13, 14 carries. And given how vulnerable the Browns have been in the trenches this season, take the discount. Lundy, are you with me on that discount? J.K. Dobbins over 48.5 rush yards, minus 103 at Caesars.
I'll take any discount I can at the holiday season, Brad, because my kids are expensive.
Yes.
So I'm in. I'll take the over with this one. Good one to be able to do. Get you started on Saturday. Get you some cash that you can turn around and lose on Sunday. I keep having to remind myself there are 3 games tomorrow.
Yeah, there are. And again, the snow globe to top it all off at night between the Dolphins and the Bills is must-see TV. Are these next elections must support? Probably
Maybe,
not. No,
probably not.
doubt it.
I don't think
No, it's
so.
bonus time. It's bonus time. Fade the living daylights out of us. What else you got, Liddy?
Let's start with hockey tonight. Just 3 games on the schedule, but one of them involves the Minnesota Wild and a team that is just tanking, swirling the toilet bowl, and that is the Chicago Blackhawks. Holy crap, are they bad right now? So the Minnesota Wild at home taking on the Blackhawks. I will do the puck line with the Wild. I will lay the 1.5. You get that at minus 145. It's still not great odds, so you may want to pair it up with something else. That's how bad Chicago is. I think Minnesota on the money line is minus 495, something like
Wow.
that. That's folks, in hockey, that doesn't happen very often to see somebody that heavy of a favorite, but Chicago sucks right now. So lay the puck line there. Also, give me an anytime goal for Kirill Kaprizov for the Wild. All the dude does is score goals, especially at home. You can get that one at a minus 110. In the association tonight, the Nuggets taking on the Lakers in La La Land. I'll take the over on Jokic rebounds at 11.5. Remember, the Lakers are terrible at cleaning the glass. Jokic likes to do it. I say he gets to at least a dozen. Excuse me. Then for bowl games tomorrow, Brad, you were talking about the NFL tomorrow. I'm talking about bowl games because these guys right here are in action against the Florida Gators. My Oregon State Beavers are playing in the Las Vegas Bowl tomorrow. So let me start with an alt total 2-legger. All right. 2 overs that I like, but I'm bringing them down to buy myself a cushion. I'm taking over 48.5 in Fresno State and Washington State, and I'm taking over 40.5 between Rice and Southern Miss. You put those two together, it is a plus 129, and then a 3-leg money line for you tomorrow. Oregon State, Boise State, and SMU. Put them all together, plus 150.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely. I tell you what, let's stick with that college football bowl theme. I've got a couple of picks on my own. I like the Bulldogs at Fresno State, minus the 3.5. I'm not worried about Captain Hook, shiver me timbers there against Washington State. Jake Haener is a baller. Tough as nails kind of quarterback for Fresno State. 18-3 touchdown reception split this season. And he's been so effective, twirling the pigskin down the stretch in Washington State. One of the worst pass defensive teams in college basketball, the 18th worst, as a matter of fact, giving up 266.7 in that category. I think Haener has himself a heyday, and as a result, I think Fresno in the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, shout out to Cousin Sal, minus 3.5 there against Wazoo. And then the other game that I like on the total, I'm taking the under in the Cure Bowl between UTSA and Troy. It's at nickels across the board, 55.5. Unbelievably, Lundy, again, John Ewing sent this out this morning, 7%, only 7% of the handle right now is on the under in this game. Everybody and their great-grandmother is betting the over on UTSA and Troy. I'm saying fade the majority. Troy, number 22 in total defense on the season in college football. UTSA slouches, number 92 in total defense, but I don't think it's going to eclipse 55.5 in that game total. Again, given the wide spread of tickets on the over there. All right, some additional player prop action in the NFL this week. Derrick Henry, plus 130 right now at DraftKings on the over 2.5 receptions. I say, yeah, why the hell not? Because you look at Derrick Henry, he's a guy who has done this in 2 of his last 3 games. In his last couple of contests, he's ran a combined 30 routes. He's number 1 in the NFL in yards per reception at running back, shockingly. Number 1 in yards per route run. Those screen passes to him are just so effective. And Ryan Tannehill knows it. And the coaching staff and Vrabel, they've been calling him more often. And the Chargers have allowed 8 guys at the running back position to catch at least 3 balls in a game, giving out 3.9 receptions per contest. Plus 130? Yeah, get seduced, get sucked in by that juice. Elsewhere in the NFL, mandatory Montgomery. Just cue the Billy Idol in the background. I like the over on 14.5 receiving yards against Philadelphia. Bears going to be playing from behind, as they always do. It's going to be an explosive offensive performance for Jalen Hurts, for Justin Fields, for all parties involved, including mandatory Montgomery, a guy who's caught at least 3 balls in 4 of his last 6 games. He's averaging 12.8 routes run per game, number 6 in total evaded tackles. So he's got the shimmy and a shake in the open field. He is number 3 in yards per reception at 9.8. So really all he needs 2 catches. And Philadelphia has given up 5 receptions per game to the running back position. So I think Monty gets at least 15 receiving yards. And same game, different name. On an OGP at BetMGM, I'm going to Philadelphia money line, and I'm going to slap that together with Miles Sanders anytime touchdown. That's plus 130 if both of those legs hit. The Bears 1-9 their last 10 games straight up. Philadelphia flipped the script 9-1 in their last 10 games straight up. And you look at the Bears, struggling all facets defensively, particularly defending the run. They've allowed 4.79 yards per carry and 16 total touchdowns to running back position. Sanders has scored a TD in 6 of his last 8 games. He's number 7 in total red zone touches. So again, Sanders anytime TD, Philly money line on that 2-legger plus 130. College basketball. Let's go there. There's some action here on a Friday night. I can't believe I'm saying this. This may never be buttered ever again on the Fade 5 podcast, but I say tail Chicago State plus 15.5 on the road downstate in Carbondale against the Southern Illinois Salukis. Why on earth am I backing the Cougs from Chicago State? Perennially one of the worst teams in college basketball. They've been competitive. They lost by 14 at Marquette. They lost by 12 at Marshall, who's a decent team this year. And most recently, they lost by un punto, 1 point at Murray State. So they've been a competitive team this year. Cardette, Davis, Johnson, all those guys shooting at least 34% from 3. They're top 70 in offensive rebounding percentage. And when they get to the line, they cash in. As a squad, they're shooting 76% from the charity stripe. And you look at SIU, they barely beat Alcorn State at home. They beat them by 6. And Tennessee State, who they only beat by 13. And they turned the ball over way too much. So 15.5, again, I'm shocked I'm saying this. I am backing Chicago State tonight. Elsewhere, I like Marquette minus 3.5. I like Oral Roberts minus 8.5. And I'll give you a little bit more detail on this one real quick. Give me the Georgetown Hoyas plus 10.5 at home against Xavier. Now, Xavier, one of the better offensive teams in college basketball, number 7 in offensive efficiency. They're shooting over 40% from distance, but in their last 8 games, defensively, they've been inept. Number 214 in effective field goal percentage defense, giving up 39.2% from distance. Georgetown's got problems, but this is a conference game. It's a road game for Xavier. I think 10.5 points is too much. I think Georgetown loses in the 7 to 9 range. So bank on that. And we're out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast. I hope you have a splendid and profitable weekend. Enjoy the Saturday games of the NFL. Enjoy the rest of the slate on Sunday. And as always, for Nate Lundy, I'm Brad Evans. First and foremost, go to the Twitter page, mine at Noisy Wave Host, not the other name I threw out earlier, and at Nate Lundy. Check out all of our free picks. We track them in spreadsheets, so they're color-coded. It's very easy to read and fade living daylights out of our selections. Also, drop us a rating and a review if you don't mind, would you kindly? And until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.